Yeah, after it's coming. All right, so my first question is, imagine it's, let's say, 2030. Everybody has like a pair of glasses. It's like Orion glasses, basically. You can see like the augmented reality. If you want to flip it off, it's pretty good, like virtual reality. Maybe you can put some things on the side so it blocks out. So it's pretty ubiquitous. It's good, like 5G everywhere. So how would, in your respective field, how could education work ideally? Who wants to go first? Oh, nice.
Yeah. So actually, right now we started working on it as well. Then we believe, and we found it, that never ever books won't be erased from the education, right? All professors want students to read the books. Then traditional way still is there. What would happen is the students can just wear those glasses and have augmented think on the books if they have a question on it, if wants to see a 3D model on it, right? Even AI is there as assistant like their professors to help them with any. I don't say we're going to add knowledge to the book. What I'm saying is we're going to facilitate education. It is my imagination now, future.
It's pretty good. Sounds like, I understand Finnish education system is like teachers are facilitators now, so they're already ahead of the curve there. Yeah, it sounds like multimodal is that word they use in AI, where you have like pictures and text and I guess in future like 3D schematics, whatever, like interactive models, games, whatever. Good. Anyone else want to go?
To continue on the same medical topic, I guess. Yeah, what we believe is that the need will change. So what you need to learn will change with the tech evolving. So already right now with medicine there are quite many prototypes, crazy expensive prototypes, but working prototypes with surgery assistants and stuff. And we believe that with evolving technology, what you need to learn will adapt. And I think what the colleague mentioned also, that it will be assisted learning, not just like ballpark learning. And what you need to learn, probably like we imagine this tech being as partly like maybe it's not 2030, maybe it's 2050, what I'm talking about, but like Tony Stark type of vibe where there is some assistant with you who can analyze things. In some places, the assistant is never there to answer because it does not have enough information to answer. But in some cases, it has, and it helps to guide you through with some checklists and stuff.
Cool.
I think something that our students would be happy to see is that when they are performing a task in real life, that they get the live feedback while they're doing it. Something like we've seen things with HoloLens before that are doing something similar, but I think mostly it's programmed, and it would be great if that could be AI-generated live feedback while they're doing a certain task. That would be very beneficial for us.
I have my own headset, thank you. Well, I think we will still have different technical solutions, for example, that we can see VR on the screen or something else, because we can't underestimate the amount of people who get cyber sick in VR, and they all can't use glasses or something like that.
That's fair, and I guess it will have different screens,
yeah,
all these projection technologies as well. But can you tell me how, again, it's about each of you individually, but how did you come to VR as a kind of vehicle of your educational initiatives? Because maybe, did you start from that we want to do VR and let's see what we can put in there, or did you start from what is the problem and then ended up with VR in the end? If that applies to everybody, I don't know.
Yeah, for us, I guess it's both the co-founder, Nick, who is a veterinary doctor. His brother works in Riga Human Medicine University, and they have VR for years. So he was jealous why they have these cool things, and he wanted something like from his heart to compete. And then there's me looking at also VR success story that I partly share that kind of connected it approximately in one time that clicked and went there.
Can go from here. Mine was need because I was doing my master's and I had to have an idea for a business plan. So we were sitting in the kitchen with my husband thinking about ideas, and then as he's the other co-founder in the company, he said that why not visualize history? And then I started writing several papers in the university about it. I did my master's thesis on it, and then in the end we watched into each other's eyes and said, why not try it in reality? So my first experience in VR was actually our Tartu demo that had only, I think, 2 building models and then colored boxes in it. And it was love from the first sight.
Still going strong, I see. Yeah.
Yeah, and in our case, it started from a problem as well. We've been around as an organization for, this is our 20th anniversary next year. So we have been seeing problems with teachers for about 20 years, and we found that XR could be a solution for most of them. So that's very exciting times to be alive, I would say, to see that you can solve almost every problem with a VR headset.
So mine also was experimental. I was a student. I experienced the difficulty of learning medical education. So we try to solve those abstract concepts facilitated with virtual reality. Then we found the first pain point. And after 4 years, I become a teacher in university. I also there experience difficulty to train a student. Then yes, it's actually all was based on experience.
Yeah, and I can add that I also have an education startup photo class that was mentioned before, and I think when we look back, we called it the VR hammer. So every problem you have, it looks like could be solved with VR. But probably it's not most efficient. We probably could have made like a desktop, iPad, other approaches as well. We just wanted to make cool VR, so we were like, sorry. Just looking back, yeah. Cool. How do you measure the efficacy of your educational VR solutions, or that they even work? Because it's usually been the issue. Usually it's qualitative in my experience, but maybe you have some way to measure if your product is successful or not in its educational goals.
I never thought actually the way we are going to do as a business. It was a research project, and we, from the heart, wanted to solve their problem with the e-learning center. After we saw the potential, back-to-back in events, based on the research we did, and how helpful our application was. Then we decided to make it a business. But as the main aim was to facilitate medical education for free, still we're doing it for free. The business model is different. We're growing, we're earning money, but not based on selling the application to the student. We never want to do that.
So the schools will pay for it in the end, and then they will kind of qualitatively give you feedback that they're using it and it's good?
Yes, actually. The first good feedback was when I failed to launch the first application, Artūrs. We back and did research, and we found it. Students like it. Professor was witness. They saw the application is facilitated, really. Then we figured out it's working. Then we started to work on other projects, other. Even we created like virtual reality laboratory for microbiology and biology. Then we went for psychology also. For all of those, we create article. We did research in real time. We piloted and gather the feedback. We had the control model also. Then all was based on the knowledge and scientific. Then we find it really interesting for people, for students. And now actually Medotechs were established in 2023. It's too new company, but the project were started from 2015.
Lots of research. Okay, got it. Anyone else?
So we collect feedback from teachers and students. And what we have received is that even a year or 2 years later, the experience helps them to understand the certain era, what they have seen. And it's more easier to talk about Second World War or Stone Age, for example, because with history, with each year, the time gap gets bigger and bigger, and it's very difficult for students to understand that. But if they are present in that time, it helps in the school lessons as well. And for me personally, I'm doing the tours sometimes myself. It's very heartwarming if I have teenagers and after they're 44, they are saying that, oh, I am so lucky that I'm not living during the war. And I hope that this is something that they keep inside and they know and look for better ways to solve out conflicts.
Like I guess famously said about World War II stuff as well, that basically if we forget about it, it will happen again. So it's kind of, yeah. Anyone on a happier note?
Hoping to bring some happiness in. So we base our kind of hypothesis on some research that has been done already. PwC has made some, and some universities, that VR for education in specific applications does produce efficient results, so from like 25% better to 4x better. Like there are different types of researches, and we actually are looking to work with Helsinki University. Once we have a bit more content, we have this kind of vision to do our own research with their student groups and student groups in Baltics to check if what experiences actually work better. We actually aim to know it for us, how to build an experience that is memorized and booked there, because there's a triangle where you learn little by listening, more by reading, more by writing, blah, 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 and the best is experiencing and living it. And so that in VR, the mission in education, as we see it, is to bring it closer to this experience, like live through, but where it is possible and so on.
I think one of the most fun parts of our project is getting the feedback from the teachers. So I talk with teachers about this project almost daily. They send pictures, they share experiences, so that's very fun. But of course we have also the numbers to back it up through analytics that we collect with our MDM solution, but also the research that is being conducted by the universities. But I think the most fun is to hear actual stories from schools, from teachers, and they are always very excited about trying it. And the most fun part about it is when they are skeptical in the beginning, and then they had some experience with it, and that just their mindset just completely flipped 360 degrees, and that's just amazing to see. Yeah, that's what I meant. Yeah, thanks.
Cool. And what kind of analytics do you collect? You said. Like which apps are used or how long they use it?
So from ArborXR we are able to collect a few things. It's mostly which apps, how many times, how long they spend in an app, things like that. But research from the universities goes a lot further. So they really did surveys with schools. They also did interviews, so they collected a lot more data that will be publicly available soon.
Audience, any questions?
Yeah, audience is getting bored.
It's a long day. Okay, I get a few more and then we can maybe wrap up. One is like educational market is pretty fragmented all over. I wonder if you have any tips for how to overcome that fragmentation or build a product that is usable everywhere. Pretty open-ended question, but who wants to take?
Yeah, I think in our case, it's the top-down initiative that worked because schools were, as we say it in Belgium, they're on their own islands. Everyone's doing the same thing, but they don't know about each other. They're reinventing the wheel all over again. So by having something centralized top-down, you're able to provide much more value because only one organization, or you have to come up with the idea once and you can share it with everyone at once. So I think that provides great value.
Yeah, in our case, as we are building a niche thing, we believe that the key to succeed, especially if you are not if you cannot afford full time without any earnings, is to do with as much focus as you can, like very narrow field, and see how it works and test it out. This is what basically we are doing, focusing on one specific problem, one area, trying to go from there. Yeah, direct sales, quite hard sales, long sales cycle sales, but we think that for educational sector, either you are more or less lucky or well connected, or you play kind of a long game of building trust, being there and bombing, like not maybe hardcore, but just like softly pushing that we had a meeting. We talked, we need to talk again, we have more features. After 2 months, more features.
In our case, I think, Märt, that we should have coffee and then form an alliance and visit the Ministry of Education and Science. Because I think we need a central system as well. In Estonia, schools don't have enough money to buy the headsets. I had a meeting last week and one school said that we don't have money to buy even one headset. And even if they do buy some headsets, they may be staying and not working. But as we know, Pico just launched a new headset, Pico 4 Ultra, and then they said that they stopped producing Pico 4 Enterprise. It's very sad if schools buy headsets like hundreds and hundreds, and then they stop working and supporting the headsets, the producers. So we should have a rental system or some kind of central system, as the schools have, for example, with computers. They rent them for 5 years and then they change them. So I think we need something like that.
So, first of all, I forgot the question.
It's about fragmented, basically all educational markets are super fragmented, like all the countries have their own systems,
Right.
regions, whatever. So I wonder if you have any tips for overcoming this in your area.
Yes, right. We saw this problem also. Every universities, they have their lab. Every schools also starting on working some, even they don't have enough money to fund funding and development. What we did is to create everything open source. We let it go to the universities and just ask them if they want to work, just evolve our open source. Because what we found that the foundation is based on the science. We did the research. They don't need to do rework, right? They can easily use our cores and implement their idea in it using our tools. It's make it much easier for them also. Even some point, I don't know our core, how expand it did in each university. But I believe they're doing very well. What we did is to just make it, our core actually is compatible with LMS. then easily they can have it in their universities. They can easily work on it, even they don't have developers. There is tools they can just, in some point, they can just with dragging and drop, create their simulation. Then I believe if each of companies that working in education having their open source product, then university institute will stop working their laboratories if everything go well. But to be honest, there is no limitation for knowledge and science, right? As much as we can work, but still there are some area that we cannot cover. Then it's good, even as they have their own centers, they're working on the pain point they found it. It's good also.
Yeah, I guess coming back to the open source, that I guess it will eventually overtake everything, but it just takes time. It's like a thing becomes a commodity. So will happen with code as well. All right, I think let's do the last question. Name your favorite virtual or augmented reality educational product or app, and why? Maybe you can't name your own thing. Yes.
I know the answer.
Or no, that's not the point at all. I would say I actually like Prism's math a lot. It's curriculum aligned, the US kind of math teaching. It's cool because it starts with building up the motivation. It's not perfect, but I think it kind of points away towards what a kind of classroom VR experience can be like. So in the beginning, you're like motivated that there is some problem. Let's say you're like on a mountain and two villages are connected by gondola and the rope breaks or whatever. And then you have to calculate, like basically teaches you about triangle in the end, how to calculate it, but it's done in a cool, like realistic setting. In the end, you feel like you accomplished something. So that's one of my choices, but maybe one of you has had time to think now to come up with something else.
Sure. So outside of the obvious, Future class, of course, but I think virtual speech is also one of my favorites because it's relevant for almost every student. It's soft skills training, presentation training, and that's usually a skill that a lot of students lack. So I think, and it's also with AI, ChatGPT, things like that. So I think that's great value for students as well, because oftentimes the time in school goes to hard skills and training a certain procedure or task, and soft skills get overlooked. And I think that virtual reality is a great solution for it because it gives the students some more confidence and they can practice in their own environment without having to worry about getting ridiculed by their fellow students, for example. So I think that's definitely one of my favorites.
Yeah, it's actually a hard question. I was trying to find a good, and I think I don't really recall the name. There was a small team, I think, from Netherlands that did the emergency ICE. It's called like training. Yeah, it's like 5 people team, but they developed a simple solution, and that just works, and works really well. And we took some of the UX features that they have. Yeah. There are multiple, but one we tried multiple, but I think one I don't really recall. I think and it might be C to check it. Yeah, I really remember their website, and there is like whole team, like just 5 or 7 people, and they did all the thing. And we know that they have a successful business. They are doing good, and actually they have been bootstrapping throughout the whole journey of like 7 years, and now they are just a business. And we kind of one of our co-founders had an opportunity to talk to them. And they said that what they thought VR is startup thing, but actually it's a business.
Well, from history side, I would name the VR experience in the Berlin TV Tower, because when we started our journey to Berlin, I read from the book to everyone in the car that the city started to grow from two villages from both sides of the river. And we sort of had the idea that the villages were like Tallinn and Tartu. And then in the VR, they started with the beginning as well, and they were like two banks of River Emajõgi, and you said, wow, okay, this happened so. And I still have the feeling of the experience, and it was 2 years ago, so that was good.
Sam, any closing thoughts? Well, after your favorite experience?
Yes, actually, if I don't want to say mine.
You can't,
Yes,
actually.
I don't want to say mine is good enough. But remember, we had a competitor when we were working on virtual reality laboratory. We never catch them. That's why we pivot. They were working with 3 universities like Stanford, Harvard, and Oxford. Their knowledge came from those. Even they had really good quality in virtual reality. We never catch them, to be honest.
What's their product or name?
It was virtual laboratory. In the same time, we were working on laboratories for microbiology and biology, but they were working on widely, actually, more wide stuff. We thought we can never catch them. Just we pivot. We just release the application openly in the market, and then we pivot on something else. But it was my actually favorite virtual reality education thing that I test.
All right. Any parting words, anyone? Oh, Artūrs, got something to say?
Yeah, I just thought about one thing. Just I remember that what I forgot to say in the presentation was that we really believe that the gaming world and education world will connect in one point. Like really, imagine just gaming throughout history, for example. You will just memorize a lot of things, and I know, like if you want to translate suffering or anything. And this is already starts to become a thing. Like, you know, Battlefield 5, I think it really translated the pain of the war, like how sad it is. And we think that if it's done more intentionally, and if the gaming industry also looks at this and invests 2% of the revenue into that area, that could be a big deal. So, yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I echo that. I think actually public funding should be here, and I hope as people, including gamers, basically grow up, get positions of power in government, a lot of more funding starts coming that way too. Yeah, because education ultimately needs to be paid for by the state in many cases, as we see here. Basically, the best way by far, I think, that VR works in secondary schools and I guess vocational schools is Louise's project. So, yeah, I think we'll convince soon our people in government to put more into that and actually hire game designers who are real specialists in creating these projects. Cool. So thank you all very much for sticking with us. Let's have some fun or have some rest, whatever you're up for. And yeah, call it a day. See you downstairs. Thank you.
Oh, thank you.